Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. I'm James, and I'm here with the ever brilliant Sophia.
Stop it. You're going to make me blush. Hey, everyone. Thanks for hanging out with us again. We've got something really meaningful for you today, something quiet but powerful.
Yeah, this one hits deep. We're diving into the phrase, I will win. Not in a flashy sports stadium kind of way, but in that quiet, personal, just for you kind of way.
You know, the kind of phrase you write in your journal at 2 a.m. when no one's cheering, no one's watching, but you're still trying. That kind of win.
I remember reading something once about how a single sentence can shift your whole mindset. And honestly, I didn't get it until I needed it.
Right? There's something almost magical about those little declarations. I will win. It sounds simple, but if you really sit with it, it's not about trophies. It's about trying again tomorrow.
Let's rewind a bit. Picture this. You're stuck. Life's not going the way you planned. You're tired, things feel pointless, and everything around you seems like it's moving while you're stuck in cement.
Been there, and if you haven't, just wait. It's coming. But seriously, when everything feels like it's falling apart, the last thing that seems helpful is a little sentence like, I will win.
Exactly. And yet sometimes it's the only thing that helps. That moment where you say it, not because you believe it yet, but because you need to believe something, anything.
And that's where the magic starts. That one sentence, it doesn't fix your problems overnight, but it does start to shift something inside you. It's like you're drawing a line in the sand between giving up and holding on.
Totally. And there's something powerful in deciding that you're still in the game, even if you don't know what the next move is.
Let me ask you something. Have you ever caught yourself thinking, I'll probably mess this up, or this just isn't going to work out? Because if you have, you're not alone.
Nope, not alone at all. Our brains are always predicting things. And when we expect failure, we start to look for it. Like, oh, I knew that wouldn't go well. It becomes a self fulfilling loop.
Exactly. But here's the twist. What if you trained your brain to predict something different? Like, I'm still learning, or I'll figure this out eventually, or even that little whisper, I will win.
And look, this isn't about lying to yourself, it's about pointing your thoughts in a direction you actually want to go. Even if you don't feel it yet, it's giving your heart a destination.
Your brain listens to the stories you tell. If you say, I'm not good at this, guess what? Your brain's going to find proof. But if you start with, I'm getting better every time I try, it'll start finding that too.
It's like changing the filter you see the world through. The more you repeat something, the more real it becomes. Not because the world changes overnight, but because you do.
I love the way you said that. And honestly, I've seen this shift happen in real life. People who were drowning in doubt, but they started small. Maybe with a sentence scribbled in a notebook, maybe with a sticky note on their mirror.
And that one sentence, I will win, became a seed. And it doesn't need to be a bold, dramatic shout. Sometimes it's just a quiet promise, one that grows with care, with practice, with time.
Let's be real. Most of us are waiting to feel better before we think better. But the truth, thinking better has to come first. That's what shapes how we feel.
It's counterintuitive, right? You don't wait to feel confident before you try. You try, and that's what builds confidence.
Exactly. And this is why mindset isn't just fluff. It's not a bonus, it's the foundation. If you believe nothing will work, even good stuff will look suspicious. Even love will feel like a trap.
But if you believe you're being prepared for something better, suddenly even the setbacks look like training, like preparation, not punishment.
So here's the takeaway for today's section. That little voice that says, I will win, don't ignore it. Don't wait until things are perfect to believe in it. Say it now. Let it grow.
And if no one has told you this today, you are not behind. You are not broken. You are still in the story, and the story isn't over.
Let's carry that energy into the next part, where we'll talk about how to choose belief, even when doubt feels louder.
Because belief, my friend, is a choice, and it starts with three small words.
Say it with us: I will win.
All right, welcome back. Now that we've planted the seed with I will win, let's talk about something that tries to yank that seed right out of the ground: doubt.
Oh, yeah, doubt's a sneaky one. It doesn't knock, it just strolls in, kicks off its shoes, and starts whispering stuff like, "You're not good enough," or "Why even try?"
And the wild part? Most of the time, we don't even question it. We just listen. Let it set up camp in our brains like it owns the place.
But here's the thing, we weren't born doubting ourselves. That voice came from somewhere. Maybe it was a teacher who said we'd never be good at something, or a parent, or a friend, or society in general.
Exactly. And over time, we absorb those voices. We repeat them so much, they start sounding like our own thoughts.
But they're not. Not really. They're echoes. And we get to decide whether to keep echoing them or choose a new voice.
So here's the question: when you doubt yourself, whose voice is it really?
Oof, that's a big one. When I started my first project, I remember being so excited until that voice kicked in. What if it fails? What if people laugh? What if I'm just not ready?
Same here. I almost didn't launch my first podcast episode because I thought, who's going to care about what I have to say? Total imposter syndrome.
And yet, here we are, talking to you. So, what changed? For me, it wasn't that the doubt disappeared, it's that I chose to believe just a little bit more than I doubted.
That's the trick, isn't it? You don't have to be 100% fearless. You just need your belief to be slightly stronger than your fear.
And even if it isn't, you can act as if it is. That's what I did. I made a deal with myself. Just show up like you believe, even if it feels fake at first.
And here's the cool part: when you act on belief, even if it's tiny, your brain starts to shift. You start building evidence that, hey, maybe I can do this.
Doubt tells a story, but belief is a decision, and the way you act reveals which one you've chosen.
That's the real key. You don't have to defeat doubt. You just need to give belief the final vote. Those aren't just cute little quotes. They're mental pivots. They remind your nervous system, hey, we're still in this.
And that's huge because when you believe, even a little, you keep moving, you keep trying, you stop waiting for perfect conditions.
So the next time you're about to do something and that voice says, what if I fail? Try answering back with, what if I don't?
Even better, what if I grow? Because honestly, the goal isn't always success, sometimes it's just growth.
One of the best shifts I ever made was telling myself, I don't have to win today. I just have to show up.
Yes, that's where belief begins, not in winning the whole game, but in taking the next step. Just one.
You know what this reminds me of? That moment right before you do something new. There's that pause. Your heart leans forward, but then your mind pulls you back.
That's the battlefield right there. That little pause is where most people retreat. But if you can choose belief in that moment, even if it's soft and shaky, you change the whole game.
And if you mess up, so what? Belief doesn't mean you get it right every time. It just means you're not quitting on yourself.
Right. Because belief isn't about being perfect. It's about staying open, curious, and willing. That's what makes you unstoppable. Not talent, not luck, willingness.
So let's practice. Think about something you've been putting off because of doubt. Got it? Now say, I believe I can try. Not succeed, just try.
That's it. That's how belief wins. Not by being the loudest, but by being the most consistent.
And over time, belief becomes your new normal. Not because you faked it, but because you chose it again and again.
So if that doubtful voice comes back tomorrow, and it will, talk back to it. Gently, confidently, say, "Thanks for the concern, but I've got this."
And you do. Even if it doesn't feel like it yet, you're building belief every single time you show up.
We'll keep showing up too. Next, we're going to talk about the most important voice you hear all day, your inner one.
Because if you're going to keep believing, you need that voice to be your teammate, not your critic.
Stick with us. It's about to get real.
All right, let's get into the real work now. The part nobody sees, but everybody feels. We're talking about that voice inside your head.
Yep, the one that's with you all the time. When you wake up, when you scroll, when you mess something up, when you're alone, that voice, it's shaping your life way more than you think.
And let's be honest, sometimes that voice is a total jerk. It tells you you're lazy before you even get out of bed. It calls you a failure when things don't go perfectly.
If someone else talked to you the way your inner voice does, you'd block their number and delete the chat. But for some reason, we just let that voice keep going unchecked.
Why? Because we think it's being realistic. Like, I'm not being negative, I'm just being honest. But truth is, that inner voice might just be untrained.
Oof, say that again. Untrained. That hit me. It's not that you're broken, it's that your self talk never got the chance to grow up.
Exactly. And here's the good news you can train it. One sentence at a time.
Let's start right here. You don't need to wait until you feel better to speak better to yourself. You speak kindly first. The feelings catch up later.
Totally. Try something like, "This is hard, but I'm still trying." Or, "I showed up today, and that counts."
And my favorite, I don't need to earn rest. You are not a machine. You don't have to achieve something just to be allowed to breathe.
These aren't just fluffy affirmations, they're mental rewrites. You're literally rewriting the way your brain sees you.
It's like shifting your emotional posture. Instead of collapsing inward with shame, you're standing up, even just a little bit, with grace.
And here's the magic you don't have to believe these sentences fully right away. You just have to practice saying them.
That's how our brains learn repetition. If you say, "I'm terrible at everything" enough times, your brain will look for proof. But if you say, "I'm learning to get better," your brain looks for that too.
Let me tell you about one of my students. She came to me saying, "I'm too old to learn English." Every time she made a mistake, she'd go, "See, I knew I'd mess up."
Ugh, I know that voice. I used to say, "I always forget things. My memory's awful." But when I switched to, "I'm learning to remember," everything changed.
With my student, I didn't argue with her. I just said, "What if that's not the whole story?" And over time, she started talking differently. "I don't remember everything, but I'm improving. I'm proud I didn't give up today."
And you know what? Her English did improve, but not because of a better study method. It was because her relationship with herself changed.
That's so real. And it applies to everything, not just learning a language, fitness, business, healing. It all starts with how you talk to you.
So if your inner voice is still stuck in the past, saying things like, "You always quit," or "You're not capable," interrupt it gently with something better.
Even something as small as "I'm trying" or "I'm not finished yet" is powerful. It tells your mind, we're still becoming, we're not done.
And you know what helps? Saying it out loud or writing it down. Stick it on your mirror, record a voice memo, whisper it while you're folding laundry.
Because the consistent self talk, that's what builds belief, not hype, not screaming affirmations. Just steady, real, kind words repeated often.
And here's something wild. When you start speaking to yourself with care, other people start treating you differently too.
Not because you changed your personality, but because you started carrying yourself like someone who matters.
Because guess what? You do. You always did, but now you're acting like it. That's the shift.
Let's give you a few easy rewrites to practice. Ready?
Instead of I never finish anything, try I'm learning how to follow through.
Instead of I always mess this up, try I'm still figuring this out.
Instead of I'm a mess, how about I'm a work in progress and that's okay?
Simple, honest, believable, and most importantly, kind.
That's what your inner voice should be, a teammate, a coach, a friend, not a bully.
And the more you practice that, the more natural it becomes. You start living in a different emotional world. One where effort is enough, one where growth is expected, one where you're safe to try.
That's the win. Not being perfect, just being kind enough to keep going.
So tomorrow morning, when your mind starts running its usual script, pause. Then say something real, something better, something true.
Even if it's just one sentence, that's where it begins.
Coming up next, we're going to dive into the hard stuff. What to do when things don't go your way. Because even the best mindset gets tested.
And if you're thinking, yeah, but I've failed so many times, don't worry, we've got something for you.
Because failure, it's not the end. It's just the next lesson. Okay, let's talk about something we all face, even when we're doing our best. Setbacks, failure, loss. That gut punch feeling when things just fall apart.
Ugh, yeah, been there. And let's be honest, no matter how strong your mindset is, life still finds ways to knock the wind out of you.
Exactly. You could be doing everything right. Showing up, believing in yourself, retraining your inner voice. And then boom, your project flops. Someone quits on you. A plan unravels.
And that's when your mind starts whispering, see, I knew this wouldn't work. Or, this always happens to me. That old familiar doubt creeps right back in.
But here's the shift that separates people who keep going from people who give up. Winners don't avoid failure. They absorb it, learn from it, and keep moving anyway.
It's not about being fearless, it's about being resilient. Because let's face it, setbacks hurt, they sting. Sometimes they leave a mark, but they don't have to stop you.
Let me tell you a story. A few years ago, I worked on a project I really believed in. I poured my heart into it. And when I launched it, crickets. Barely any traction. I was crushed.
Oof, I can feel that. That moment when you realize no one cares as much as you hoped, it's brutal.
Yeah, I spiraled a bit. Thought maybe I wasn't cut out for this. Maybe I'd misunderstood my purpose. But after a few days of sulking, I asked myself one question. What did I learn?
Game changer. That question right there. That's how you turn pain into power.
Exactly. I realized I'd ignored my instincts in the rush to launch. I focused too much on being impressive, not enough on connection. That failure taught me more than any win ever has.
And that's the key. Sometimes failure is the only thing honest enough to teach you what success can't.
I started keeping a little phrase in my back pocket. I didn't lose, I learned. It's such a powerful reframe.
Yes. Like instead of saying, I'm not good at this, you say, I'm in the middle of learning. See the difference?
Totally. Or how about this? They rejected me becomes that wasn't my path. Suddenly, you're not stuck. You're free to find what fits.
And it keeps your heart open. Because let's be honest, the real danger isn't failing, it's shutting down after you do.
So many people treat failure like a final verdict, but it's just feedback, it's information, it's a flashlight, not a stop sign.
That's how I see it too. Every time something doesn't work out, I ask myself, what is this here to teach me? And most of the time, the lesson is gold.
Most people you see winning today, they've got a trail of quiet failures behind them. They just didn't let those failures define them.
They let them refine them. That's a huge difference.
Absolutely. They didn't let one no make them abandon their vision. They didn't let one slow week cancel their momentum.
They adjusted, took the lesson, tried again, this time a little wiser, a little tougher, but still full of heart.
And that's what you can do too. Even if your last attempt ended in disappointment, even if it hurt, you can try again differently. You can move forward without dragging the shame with you.
You are not your worst day. You are not your biggest mistake. You're someone who is still learning, still growing, still showing up.
And honestly, sometimes the most beautiful things in life come after we fall flat. It's like life clears space for something better.
Totally. I once got rejected from something I really wanted, thought it was the end of the road, but that no forced me to explore a path I would have never considered otherwise, and it changed my life.
That's the thing. We don't always get to control the outcome, but we always get to choose the meaning we give to it.
So next time you hit a wall, ask yourself, what is this moment shaping in me? How can I use this to grow?
Not in a fake, everything is fine way, but in a real, grounded, I can survive this kind of way.
Because that's where true strength is built, not in the wins, but in the recovery, in the comeback.
So, if you're listening to this while nursing a recent disappointment, breathe. You're not alone, and this isn't the end.
Nope, you're still in the middle. The story's still unfolding, and what feels like a loss might just be a redirection.
We want to leave you with this. You don't need to erase the pain to learn from it. Let it sit next to you, let it teach you. Then carry the lesson forward.
And when someone says, but didn't you fail at that? You can smile and say, I didn't fail. I figured something out.
Coming up next, we're closing this journey with something powerful. What winning really means.
Because, spoiler alert, it's not about applause, it's about alignment.
Let's redefine winning quietly, boldly, honestly. All right, friends. We've talked about belief, self talk, and how to bounce back after failure. Now let's ask the big question: what does it actually mean to win?
Yes, because somewhere along the way, we all got sold this idea that winning has to be loud. Like if it's not shiny, viral, or worth a big announcement, it doesn't count.
Right. That Instagram version of success, trophies, titles, a million likes. But what if real winning isn't flashy at all?
What if it's quiet? What if it looks like keeping a promise to yourself when no one's watching?
Or finally feeling okay in your own skin, not needing to explain your dream to anyone who doesn't get it, just living it steadily, privately, confidently.
That's what we call quiet confidence. The kind that doesn't need to shout to feel real. The kind that says, I know who I am. I know where I'm going. I don't need to rush.
And let me tell you, that energy, it's magnetic. Not because it's loud, but because it's unshakable.
In a world full of people screaming to be seen, quiet confidence stands out without even trying. It's calm, it's focused, it's strong.
I think a lot of people confuse stillness with weakness, but there's a kind of strength in not reacting, not over explaining, not begging to be understood.
Exactly. When you're aligned with who you are, your values, your growth, your journey, you stop needing outside validation.
You stop comparing your life to someone else's highlight reel. You stop measuring your worth by numbers or applause.
Because here's the truth, most of us aren't trying to impress anyone. We just want peace, purpose, to feel like we're living in a way that matches who we really are.
And when you live that way, when your values match your choices, that's the win.
It doesn't need a microphone, it doesn't need to trend, it just is.
You know what else? Real winning is sustainable. You're not burning out trying to prove yourself. You're not chasing things just to feel worthy.
You're already worthy, and you're building something real, brick by brick, without needing to show off every tile you lay.
There's a freedom in that. A freedom in not needing to post your progress, not needing to be loud about your milestones.
You're not hiding, you're just rooted. You're not afraid to be seen, but you don't need it to feel seen by yourself.
And that's something no one can take from you. Not failure, not rejection, not silence.
Let's say this clearly: you don't need to win out loud for it to count.
Nope. That quiet moment where you choose to keep going, that counts.
That time you forgave yourself, that counts.
The day you stopped comparing and started honoring your pace, that counts too.
Real winning happens when you stop running from yourself and start walking with yourself.
It's the subtle shift from I have to prove something to I have nothing to prove, but I still have something to build.
Yes, it's not about quitting ambition, it's about redefining it, reclaiming it.
So, what does winning look like for you? Is it healing? Is it creating? Is it just getting through the day without breaking?
Maybe it's taking care of your body or your heart or finally resting without guilt.
Maybe it's saying no to something that drains you or yes to something that lights you up.
Whatever it is, make it yours and let it be enough.
People might underestimate you because you're not loud. That's fine. Let them. Your presence speaks louder than any announcement ever could.
And when they ask, "How did you get here?" you won't need to say much. You'll just smile because you know it wasn't luck, it wasn't magic.
It was consistency, patience, quiet courage.
You whispered, "I will win," into the dark, long before anyone believed it. And now you're living it, not for attention, not for approval, but for you.
So take your time. Move in silence. Build something real. Let your peace speak for you.
Let your energy introduce you before your resume does. Let your values make the loudest noise in the room.
Let your journey be sacred, private, yours.
You don't owe anyone an explanation for your path. Just keep walking it with trust, with intention, with love.
And remember, you don't need a crowd to win. You just need you showing up again and again.
So, whether you're at the beginning of your journey or halfway through, we hope you take this with you. Your win doesn't have to be loud, it just has to be true.
Thank you for spending this time with us. Thank you for believing in your story, even when it's still being written.
And if no one's told you lately, let us be the first. You're not too late. You're not behind. You're right on time.
And you're already winning.
One breath, one choice, one sentence at a time.